Okay, this video is called What is Dr. Mcdougall's Biggest Mistake? Okay, and so first thing I want to say is Dr. Mcdougall is a genius. I've studied all the nutrition experts, okay? I really have a boring life. I read tons of books, and I've read all the books probably you could think of in nutrition that are worth reading. And I can tell you, Mcdougall's the best, okay? He is obsessive compulsive about drilling down to the truth with regard to health topics, okay? He took, Nathan Pritikin did an awesome job of summarizing, yes, fat is bad. Yes, it's impossible to be too low in protein. Pritikin was awesome at a lot of things. And Dr. Mcdougall said Pritikin was his _1 mentor. He had great mentors also, in Kempner and in Burkitt and in Swank. All of these guys did great things. But Mcdougall took it to a higher level. He gave a comprehensive system of not only good nutrition, but how you prevent all the common diseases. You have to remember, if you open a conventional textbook, they will tell you there is no cure for obesity, there is no cure for diabetes, there is no cure for hypertension, there is no cure for autoimmune disease, etc., etc. They basically, all the common chronic diseases, chronic means uncurable, okay? Whereas Mcdougall's like, you can easily cure these diseases, eat a starch-based diet. And a lot of people try eating a plant-based diet, they get confused, they don't have a systematic understanding of it, don't know what to do. And Mcdougall says just eat 90% of your calories from starch, or even just eat a potato or a sweet potato. Only that for a while. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is he gives a comprehensive system that prevents all the common diseases just about and makes cancer very rare. So that's an incredible gift to health, okay? And he's systematic about it, and he digs and digs and digs. Like, I might think I'm going to get through a Mcdougall article fast, but then all of a sudden I got to look at its references, and it takes a lot of time. So he paid his dues in a systematic way to answer health questions for the public. And I never caught him lying. He never bullshits. He's not trying to sell anything. He's just telling you the truth. When he reads about dementia, when he reads about coronary artery disease, he tells you, look, and all the things he's saying are going to piss off any hospital bean counter. He tells you, eat the vegan diet, don't get stents, don't go for cabbage, coronary artery bypass grafts. And he does the same. He says, you don't need to take these expensive medicines for MS, for the other autoimmune diseases. Try the low-fat vegan diet, then try the elimination diet, no gluten, etc. All right, so he does lots of good stuff, and he's fighting to help the pros. Most of these, not most of them, but a lot of these nutrition so-called experts, if you study them closely, and I have, they're bullshitting you. They're trying to sell you something. They're telling you, you're deficient in this, so you got to buy my thing, okay? Or they're getting paid by sponsors saying stuff like old people need to eat more protein or they get sarcopenia. That's all BS, okay? So what I'm trying to say is Mcdougall doesn't do that. I never see him bullshitting the public about the truth on nutrition and on health. And I read the diseases. He knows exactly what he's talking about. The guy's a genius. It's true. Okay, that's why he's worth my time that I study him in more detail than I study other nutrition experts because of what I can learn from him. There's other great ones, of course. Esselstyn's great for coronary artery disease. T. Colin Campbell's great for protein and a few other things. But there's no one even close to having the comprehensive understanding of health and nutrition like Mcdougall. Okay, so that's why he's worth all this time I put into studying him. Okay, but now what am I making this video for? What do I think he's wrong about? What I think he's wrong about was he is so interested in reading the medical literature, the medical journals, and he thinks like an internal medicine doctor. To an internal medicine doctor, the holy grail of health is to have clean coronary arteries, okay? If your coronary arteries are clean, the assumption is made you're good to go because then you're going to have clean arteries throughout the rest of your body because atherosclerosis is a systemic disease, goes everywhere in the body, okay? And that's actually all true. However, there's one thing they're missing. The number of chemicals added to foods and personal care products over the last 50, 70 years has dramatically gone up. And a lot of these chemicals, they're estrogenic. And the estrogenic chemicals promote weight gain and everything that goes with that. Autoimmune disease, hypertension, diabetes, etc. And there's a lot of chemicals, they're toxic to the brain. They're neurotoxic. And they lower IQ. Like you can call them dementogens, making people at increased risk for dementia. Stupid. Okay, and I think he kind of just never got around to studying that. There's a ton of stuff to study with all the diseases, and he's great on all the pharmaceuticals, going through all the problems, let's say, with calcium channel blockers, how they make you constipated, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but what am I trying to say? What I'm saying is, when I read a topic, I ask myself questions about consilience. Consilience means where are things pointing? There might be 10 topics. Are they all pointing in opposite directions, same direction, some this way, some that way, or do they all point in the same direction? And what I keep seeing is a pattern when I study things that are subsidized, when I study things that are like in your drinking water, F minus. Why is F minus and aluminum in your drinking water? Okay, they lower IQ, they push towards infertility. They're very bad for health, increased cancer risk, bad all around, okay? And then I look at all these personal care products and I see things that are estrogenic and dementogens when they don't have to be that way. And so what I'm saying is, I don't think it's just for profit. I think that there is a systematic approach being done to lower the you-know-what fertility rates of the proles and the you-know-what cognitive function of the proles. And a fine-tuning argument means that if you look at things in the design, this is OOU means origin of the universe. OOL means origin of life on Earth. OOC means origin of complexity. And the fine-tuning arguments means you look at like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 things that had to line up a certain way in order to accomplish a certain goal. And for example, they're just too complicated to have the origin of life without God involved. I was an A+ student at Stanford in evolutionary biology. I'm quite familiar with the evolutionary biology literature. It just doesn't come close to explaining it. Okay, you can watch James Tour. He's a brilliant chemist. He's not even talking about biochemistry. We're talking about geologic chemistry before life exists. Okay, and I like Nick Lane. I've read all his stuff too. But you just can't come close to explaining it at this point without God. You can't, okay? Same thing with the origin and complexity. Evolutionary biology, neo-Darwinism, it's like scratching a CD to create mutations. It cannot explain the complexity of the variety once you get beyond, let's say, the family in terms of variety of different animals and whatnot, and mutations and how the immune system works and how it can start making changes on its own to try to get more variety to solve an infection problem. Okay, origin of the universe is how, the distance of the Earth from the sun and all these other things, the size of the different moons and whatnot. So what I'm trying to say is you end up in the same spot when you start looking at all the estrogenic infertility type chemicals and the dementogenic neurotoxic chemicals in drinking water, in subsidized processed foods, in personal care products. They're just way too common in trails up in the sky, okay? They're just way too common to have happened by chance, okay? So there's a tendency by everyone to say, oh, well, it's just for the money. Yes, there's going to be push towards whatever generates money, but this is more than that, okay? So, and then you say, well, why does it matter? Well, it doesn't have to matter, but I think it matters because if you want to optimize your cognitive function, you want to optimize your health too, you want to optimize your ability to have a baby, you want to know all this stuff. It takes a little more effort, but I think it's totally neglected. There isn't anyone else that I'm aware of in the mainstream nutrition community that's doing all this. There's other people who've done fantastic things within their genre, like that MIT lady, Stephanie, Seneff. She did a great job, trying to understand glyphosate. Magnificent. Okay, there's other people who did a great job trying to understand F-, but there's not a person. I think I'm the one who systematically has tried to have a bigger understanding of toxicology in terms of this sort of thing. So what I'm trying to say is McDougall's the best internal medicine health doctor. There's no one even close, okay? And he's the best nutrition doctor. There's no one even close. But this other aspect of it, I think the whole vegan world has missed the boat on this idea that there are major toxic chemicals in the drinking water and especially in the subsidized foods. Stuff that's not, the organic is better, and it's a big topic. We're not going to go into all that detail, but I'm just letting you know I think this is worth knowing.